The year is 1997. The vodka market is dominated by Russian and Eastern European brands. Consumers believe the best vodka comes from centuries-old recipes distilled in the cold climates of Russia and Poland. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, a sleek frosted bottle labeled Product of France appears on top shelves. Within just 5 years, this French vodka would become the #1 premium spirit in America, commanding double the price of competitors and selling for over $1 billion, all without owning a single distillery. That's what we're unpacking today on the philosophy of marketing, and I promise you, this story is going to change how you think about luxury branding forever. But to understand how Grey Goose pulled off the greatest spirits industry coup of the 20th century, we need to go back, way back. The year is 1976, the Cold War is in full swing, disco is taking over nightclubs, and in New York, a liquor importer named Sidney Frank is struggling to make ends meet with his modest portfolio of German liquors. For decades, Frank would remain a minor player in the spirits industry until one day in the 1990s when he noticed something peculiar happening in vodka bars. His first thought, people are paying $15 for a vodka martini when vodka is basically tasteless. His second thought, no one is offering a true luxury vodka option. And his final thought, what if I created the world's first super premium vodka and made it French? What happens next is a masterclass in marketing. Instead of following conventional industry wisdom, Sidney Frank makes 3 crucial business decisions. First, he decides to make his vodka in France, a country with zero vodka heritage. Second, he prices his bottle at $30 when premium vodkas were selling for $15 to $17. And thirdly, he launches with virtually no advertising budget, focusing instead on getting bottles placed in upscale bars and restaurants. Wait, hold on a minute. Vodka made in France and selling for twice the price of top premium brands? That completely flips the script on everything we thought we knew about the spirits world. And here comes marketing lesson number 1. When you can't win on heritage, win on perception. Here's where Frank showed his genius. He knew he couldn't compete with centuries of Russian or Polish vodka heritage. So he positioned Grey Goose not as traditional, but as innovative luxury. The customer wasn't buying vodka. They were buying perceived quality and status. Look at the brilliant packaging choices. The frosted bottle suggests purity, the clear window showing the crystal clear liquid, the French name plays on the association with luxury goods. Every detail was engineered to suggest premium quality. I'll make the French vodka, and I'll make it the most expensive. If it's the most expensive, they'll buy it. Sidney Frank, 1996. The man literally designed a vodka brand based on the psychology of luxury pricing. And you know what? He was exactly right about consumer behavior. But creating a premium-looking bottle was just a start. Grey Goose needed to establish itself as the choice of the sophisticated elite. Instead of traditional advertising, Frank created a brilliant seeding strategy focused entirely on influencers before influencer marketing was even a term. But here's the crucial part. They weren't just placing bottles in any bars. They strategically targeted exclusive nightclubs in Miami and New York, celebrity-frequented restaurants, high-end hotel bars, private clubs, and first-class airline lounges. Each of these venues catered to status-conscious consumers who would see Grey Goose as an opportunity to signal sophistication, and once these trendsetters started ordering it, everyone else followed. Marketing lesson number 2, create status through strategic scarcity and placement. Former spirits industry executive explained Grey Goose's thinking. Sidney didn't just buy shelf space, he bought bar space. He knew that when people order a drink in public, they're also making a statement about themselves. This wasn't just distribution, it was strategic status creation. Pure genius. But Frank's real stroke of genius was understanding that in a category where product differences are minimal, the perception of quality matters more than actual quality. And here comes marketing lesson number 3. When products are similar, sell the story, not the substance. While other vodka companies were fighting over filtration methods and water sources, Grey Goose was quietly building something much more valuable, a compelling origin story. The story went that Grey Goose was made from the world's finest French wheat, from the Picardy region, distilled only once to preserve character, and filtered through champagne limestone. See the difference? Absolute vodka might talk about being distilled a million times. This kind of suggests harshness that needs to be removed. However, Grey Goose celebrates their minimal processing of superior ingredients. And here's some interesting stats on Grey Goose. In a blind taste test, Grey Goose ranked number 8 out of number 12 of the premium vodkas. However, when they asked consumers what the perceived quality was, Grey Goose was number 1 out of number 12 of the premium vodkas. By 2000, Grey Goose was selling over 1.5 million cases annually at nearly twice the price of its competitors. This wasn't marketing, this was masterful perception management. In blind taste tests, the average vodka consumer can rarely identify premium brands from standard ones. But we're selling an experience, not just a spirit, industry executive. What's remarkable is how quickly this approach worked. Most spirit brands take decades to build. Grey Goose did it in less than 5 years. By 1998, Frank executed another brilliant move. He entered Grey Goose in the Beverage Testing Institute's competition and won the designation of world's best tasting vodka. This single accolade became the centerpiece of their entire marketing strategy. Every bottle, advertisement, and cocktail menu mentioned this award, creating instant credibility. And here's Grey Goose by the numbers. The original investment in Grey Goose was $3 million. Their average marketing spend is $60 million after their initial success. In 2002, they sold 1.5 million cases. They have an 80% profit margin versus the industry average of 30%. And finally, they were featured in over 300 hip-hop songs by 2006. Instead of spending decades building heritage, Grey Goose created instant pedigree through strategic validation. Think about how revolutionary this is. Frank created a brand in 1997 and sold it for $2.3 billion to Bacardi in 2004. That's a 7-year journey from concept to billions. Marketing lesson number 4. Third-party validation creates instant heritage. Marketing professor and author Kevin Lane Keller explains why this works so well. Grey Goose didn't have time to build heritage, so they borrowed credibility through awards, placement, and associations. They compress what should have taken decades into just a few years. All of this brings us to perhaps the most brilliant part of the Grey Goose strategy, celebrity adoption. By the early 2000s, Grey Goose had become a staple in hip-hop lyrics, music videos, and celebrity events. But here's the shocking part. They rarely paid for these placements. The brand had become so associated with status that artists and celebrities voluntarily included Grey Goose in their public persona. By 2005, Grey Goose was mentioned in over 300 popular songs, creating a cultural phenomenon known as the Grey Goose effect. The vodka had transcended being just a spirit. It had become a cultural shorthand for success. But here's what's truly remarkable. Throughout this entire process, Grey Goose spent relatively little on traditional advertising. The cultural momentum created through strategic placement and celebrity adoption did the heavy lifting. And here's our final marketing lesson. True luxury brands are adopted, not advertised. Think about it. When a brand truly becomes luxury, it doesn't need to beg for attention. People want to be associated with it because it says something about them. It signals status, taste, and success without them having to say a word. Grey Goose became the drink you saw in VIP lounges, in music videos, and backstage at award shows. Not because Sidney Frank bought expensive commercials, but because trendsetters chose it as their symbol. And that's the final piece of the billion-dollar lie. Grey Goose wasn't really better tasting, it wasn't more authentically vodka than Smirnoff or Absolut. What it was better marketing. Sidney Frank didn't just sell vodka, he sold a feeling, a statement, an identity, and he understood that once you win the influencers, the rest will follow. So what can we learn from Grey Goose's extraordinary approach to disrupting an established market? And let me break it down into 5 actionable lessons you can apply to your own brand. Number 1, creating perception gaps, not product advantages. Grey Goose didn't compete on actual taste differences, they competed on perception of quality through French origins and premium packaging. How could you shift the way people perceive your product rather than trying to improve it? Number 2, price signal before you earn it. Grey Goose launched at a price point above all competitors before establishing reputation, using price itself as a quality signal. What price would signal the value you want your brand to represent even before you've earned it? Number 3, create your origin story strategically. Grey Goose leveraged France's association with luxury goods despite France having no vodka heritage. What origin story could you craft that instantly aligns your brand with trust, luxury, or prestige? Number 4, use strategic scarcity and placement. Grey Goose focused on being seen in the right places rather than being seen by the most amount of people. Where could you position your brand so that who sees it matters more than how many see it? Number 5, build validation from trusted sources. Grey Goose leveraged awards and influencer adoption to create instant credibility that would normally take decades. Which authority or influencer could instantly boost your brand's credibility? The lesson from Grey Goose isn't just about creating a luxury brand or charging premium prices. It's about fundamentally rethinking how value is created in consumer perception. They showed us that the strongest brands don't rely on product superiority, they create perception superiority. We didn't sell vodka, we sold the perception of quality and status. That's worth far more than what's actually in the bottle. Sidney Frank. So the next time you see that distinctive frosted bottle, remember, you're not just looking at a vodka brand, you're looking at one of the most brilliant perception management campaigns ever executed, one that transformed an entire industry. Now, if you found value in this breakdown of Grey Goose's marketing genius, hit that like button and subscribe to the Philosophy of Marketing. In the comments, let me know what brand would you like me to analyze next. And until then, remember, great marketing doesn't just sell products, it shapes our reality.